God is up to something amazing. He's rescuing his people from Egypt, where they have been slaves for centuries. But of course, the king of Egypt, the Pharaoh, doesn't want to let them go. So God has to send all these plagues, and Moses comes to Pharaoh each day and says, okay, here's the next plague, and the plague breaks loose, and then all the repercussions come, and then after that plague's done, Moses comes with another one after Pharaoh says no, and it gets worse and worse to where they end up losing most of their firstborn children and much of their livestock, and it's just catastrophic for the people of Egypt. But in the middle of it, something weird happens. It starts out weird enough because the plague is frogs, and there are frogs everywhere. Can you imagine frogs everywhere? People are stepping on frogs. They're squishing between their toes. There are frogs in their beds, in their cupboards. Everywhere there are frogs, from the poorest person in Egypt all the way to Pharaoh in his house. And Pharaoh's had enough with that. And he calls Moses to him and says, okay, you can go, you can go, you can go. But then in Exodus 8, verses 9 and 10, it just says something insane. Because Moses says to Pharaoh, I leave you the honor of setting the time for me to pray, and for you and your officials and your people, that you and your houses may be rid of the frogs. In other words, you can tell me, when do you want me to get rid of the frogs? You pick the time. And Pharaoh says, and this is insane, tomorrow. My dad had a book in his library called One More Night with the Frogs. Pharaoh said, you know what, I know you can get rid of the frogs. Why don't you do it tomorrow? I'll spend one more night sleeping with frogs and squishing between my toes when I get up for breakfast in the morning and brushing them off my breakfast table, because I'm willing to spend one more night with the frogs. God's willing to take something bad out of Pharaoh's life, and Pharaoh says, tomorrow. And I wonder, is there anything in your life, anything in my life, that God's willing to take out? Is there a sin that we have a problem with, that we know God's willing to work on, and we're saying tomorrow? Or he wants us to stop doing something because it's causing us harm, and we're saying, I will stop doing that thing that is harmful to me tomorrow. Are any of us guilty of choosing to spend one more night with those frogs? And that's today's Jumpstart.